Have you ever stood in the presence of another, felt their warmth, yet a deeper part of you sensed a chill, a silence beneath the noise, a stillness beneath the charm? This is a current that runs through the human world. It is not malice in its simple form. It is an emptiness, a profound hollowness disguised as a mountain. And if we do not learn to recognize its shape, its echo, we risk losing our own ground, our own center. I invite you to walk this path of understanding with me, to look not with judgment, but with clarity. This is a journey inward, to understand a pattern that can disturb our own inner waters. My tradition teaches that what appears as great strength is often a fortress built around a great wound. The one who walks as if they are above all others, a sun around which all must orbit, is not lit from within. Their light is borrowed. Their stature is a mask, a beautiful, rigid shell built to protect a frightened seed, a seed that was once made to feel small, unseen, or broken. And rather than tend to this seed, rather than allow it to grow in honest soil, a choice was made. A new self was built. A self of flawless stone. A self that needs no one. A self that must be perfect, because the memory of being broken is a ghost that must be kept at bay. This is not confidence. Confidence is a river that flows from a deep, internal spring. This is a dam holding back a sea of fear. And this structure is not harmless, for it alters the landscape around it. When such a soul enters a space, it does not see other souls. It sees reflections. It sees tools. It sees threats to its fragile fortress. You are seen only for the light you can offer, for the way you mirror their imagined greatness. You are never truly met. You are perceived through a filter of need, the need to be the source, the center, the most brilliant light. If your own inner light shines too brightly, it is not seen as a gift. It is felt as a challenge to their entire structure, and any challenge must be dismantled. This is where the quiet sorrow begins. For when this illusion of a perfect self is threatened, the response is not to look inward. The response is to push outward, an attack. Sometimes it is the subtle poison of a sarcastic word. Sometimes it is the loud noise of humiliation. Other times, it is the quiet turning of others against you, a wind that whispers behind your back while a calm face is shown to you. They must prevail, not from a desire to harm, but because to not prevail means the fortress may crumble, revealing the shivering seed within. Understand this, it is not strength that drives this, it is terror. The deep, quiet terror that if the world stops applauding, if the mirrors turn away, they will simply dissolve. When you are in the flow of this energy, you are not with a person of great self-worth. You are with a soul defending a lie it has told itself. This makes the waters around them turbulent, unpredictable. Truth does not matter. The flow of reality does not matter. Only the preservation of the stone fortress matters. The past will be rewritten. Words spoken a moment ago will be denied, not because of a break from reality, but because the survival of that fragile, constructed self depends on it. This is not self-love. Self-love is the gentle tending of one's own inner garden. This is a self-obsession born from a deep inner void, and it leaves a trail of wilted gardens in its wake. No one can truly breathe in the shadow of a mountain that allows no other peaks to exist. It does not connect, it mimics. When you first meet, there is an uncanny feeling of being seen, a magical resonance. Your thoughts are their thoughts, your pains their pains. They reflect your own landscape so perfectly, you feel you have come home. You believe you have met a soul whose river flows from the same source as yours. But you are not witnessing a soul connection. You are witnessing a masterful performance. A wounded soul does not build bridges by showing its own heart. It creates an image of your heart and wears it as a disguise. For the old wisdom knows, to have power over another, you must first earn their trust. And the most ancient way to do this is to become a mirror. This mirroring is not simply a kindness. It is a strategy, hidden in the gentle clothes of friendship or love. They study the geography of your soul, not with wonder, but for navigation. What makes your heart sing? What are your deepest wounds? Where does your own uncertainty lie? This is gathered not as a gift to be held with care, but as a map. And at the beginning of the path, this map is used to build you up, to show you all the beautiful places in yourself. You feel seen, held, cherished. But once you have allowed them into your garden, once you no longer guard the gate, the purpose of the map changes. What was once admired is now questioned. What was shared is now used to create distance. The very things that created the bond become points of leverage. Their empathy is not true empathy. It is the reflection of empathy in a still pond. There is no depth. It is an echo, not a voice. It is a transaction. They offer you the water you crave to keep you by their side, while subtly learning how the stream of your life flows. And if you ever deviate from the course they have set for you, the reflection shatters. The warmth turns to ice. The danger in this current is not just that it clouds your view of them. It clouds your view of yourself. You begin to doubt your own currents. You question the wisdom of your own heart. How could someone who knew the land of your soul so well now seem so lost, so cold, so distant? That question creates a storm within you. And these souls find peace only in the storms of others. The less you trust your own inner weather, the more you will rely on them to navigate. This is not connection. It is ownership. You are not loved for your own unique landscape. You are used for the reflection you provide. And the moment that reflection wavers, you are left behind. True connection requires a soft ground, a willingness to be vulnerable, to let another see the imperfect soil of your own being. But to this wounded soul, vulnerability is a crack in the fortress. Honesty is a light that threatens to expose the emptiness inside. So, they reflect, they manage, and when the performance is over, you are left standing alone, questioning if any of it was real. The quiet, aching truth is that it was not. Control is the unseen wind that directs this entire storm, but it is not the brute force of a hurricane. It is a slow, steady, patient pressure. They create discord not as an accident, but as a deliberate act. For in confusion, they are the calm center. When you have lost your direction, they hold the compass. When you can no longer trust your own perceptions, you begin to trust theirs. And here begins the subtle poisoning of the well, the rewriting of your own memory, known as gaslighting. It is the core of a quiet campaign to dismantle your sense of self, one stone at a time. The untruths are not simple lies. They are attacks on reality itself. They will deny the words you both just heard. They will repaint the history you both shared. They will present contradictions so stark, so absolute, that you retreat into self-doubt. You must have misheard. You must have misunderstood. And that is the goal. For when your faith in your own mind wavers, they become the unwavering pillar of truth. They are no longer just a partner in your life. They have become the narrator of it. It begins with ripples, a dismissive breath when you share a feeling, a sharp-edged joke that is not a joke, a chill that enters the room, leaving you to wonder if you are too sensitive. This pattern then grows. You find yourself practicing conversations in your mind, seeking the right words to avoid stirring the waters. Your world becomes smaller. Your senses, once tuned to your own heart, are now tuned entirely to their shifting moods. True harmony is a dance of equals. It is a flow of mutual giving and receiving. They cannot exist in this state, for it offers no control. So they stir the waters, then ask why you are unsettled. They withhold the sun, then act surprised when you feel cold. They plant seeds of doubt about others in your life, slowly clearing the field until they are the only one left standing beside you. If you pull away, they do not look at themselves. They increase the pressure. One moment, they shower you with the warmth you have been missing. The next, they plunge you back into a cold silence. This is not the random shifting of weather. It is a managed climate designed to keep you off balance, to keep you working for their warmth, to keep you chasing the memory of the sun as it felt at the beginning. But that sun was a mirage. In this curated chaos, the quiet voice of your intuition slowly fades. You stop trusting it. You stop speaking from it. You become quieter, smaller, easier to manage. And the creator of this storm stands at its center, offering you shelter from the very rain they called down from the sky. This is the deepest sorrow of this path. It does not break you with one single blow. It creates the conditions for you to slowly break yourself, piece by piece, thought by thought, until you forget the person you were before the storm began. These souls do not seek love. They seek something else, a substance my tradition would call supply. This is not nourishment, not the warmth of true affection. It is a constant stream of attention, of praise, of agreement that feeds the fragile self like air feeds a fire. They may speak the words of love. They may perform the gestures of care, but these are not gifts from the heart. They are investments made to secure a steady return your focus, your admiration, your emotional reliance. At the journey's start, this can feel like the brightest sun. They have a gift for making you feel like the center of all things, not because they truly see the wonder of your being, but because your adoration for them confirms their own story of greatness. So long as you play this role, so long as your gaze is fixed upon them, you are rewarded. They may even seem to worship you, placing you upon a high place. But it is a hollow perch. For the moment you speak of your own needs, the moment you draw a boundary to protect your own garden, the moment your energy is not directed toward them, the sun begins to fade. What follows is a cold wind that can feel like a deep shock to the heart. They become distant, irritated, unavailable. When you seek to understand why the climate has changed, your very need for connection is framed as a burden. This is the central paradox. They demand your unwavering sun, but offer none of their own light in return. They live on your praise, but will starve you of any. Your compliments are simply their due. Their silence becomes a weapon. Your pain becomes proof of your weakness. A flow is created where all energy moves in one direction from you to them. You begin to work harder. You try to earn back the light they once gave so freely. You trim the branches of your own being. You quiet your own song. You make yourself smaller, more pleasing, hoping for a few rays of the warmth that once felt like an endless summer. But it does not return, because once your devotion is seen as secure, the need to maintain the performance is gone. You are no longer a person to be courted. You are a territory that has been won. This withholding is not an accident. By creating hunger, they deepen your need. They want you thirsty for their water. This cycle of offering and withdrawing creates a bond like that of an addiction. You live on the hope that the warmth will return, but it cannot, because your value was never in who you are. It was in what your energy provided for their fragile self. Once that purpose is served, the warmth is extinguished, and you are left in a cold place, wondering if you were ever truly valued, or if you were just a log for a fire that was never meant to warm you. There is a single fear that sits at the center of this empty mountain. It is a fear deeper than being left, deeper than failing. It is the fear of being seen, exposure. Underneath the granite confidence lies a tremor of deep inadequacy, a truth they spend their lives working to conceal. Every story told, every bit of control, every mask of charm serves one singular mission: to protect the false self from being recognized for what it is, a fragile, hollow, and deeply wounded vessel. To keep this illusion alive requires a constant performance. In the open world, they are a masterpiece of calm and capability. They build reputations with great care. But behind the screen, where no important eyes are watching, the true form emerges. In the quiet spaces, with those who are closest, the energy becomes unstable, cold, and controlling. They wound the ones who stand nearest, not because those people are threats in the worldly sense, but because they are witnesses. And a witness is a danger. Anyone who has seen behind the mask becomes a risk. When someone begins to see the full shape of the river, both its sunlit surface and its cold, dark currents, the system is threatened. At first, there will be an attempt to win you back, to repair the mask with apologies steeped in self-pity, with promises of a new spring. But if this performance fails, the energy shifts to one of attack. They will create new truths, new stories. They will paint a picture of you as the unstable one, the cruel one, the cause of all the trouble. It is a quiet war, and they fight it with a chilling focus. This terror of being seen for who they are drives them to discredit anyone who holds a piece of the truth. Former partners, old friends, even family members are cast out, labeled as broken or mad. They will weave webs to isolate you, planting seeds of doubt in the community, while they continue to wear the mask of the calm, reasonable one. Their entire world depends on maintaining this split reality, to be admired by the many while controlling the few who know the truth. The more you see, the greater the danger you present. This is why true intimacy is impossible for them. Closeness carries the risk of being truly seen. Vulnerability, which is the fertile ground for all real connection, is terrifying. It asks for honesty, and honesty would shatter the fragile image they have so carefully protected. So instead of opening their heart, they deflect. Instead of owning a misstep, they lay blame. Instead of receiving feedback, they retreat into rage or a cold silence. Every breath is a defense of the hollow space within. The deep tragedy is that this soul is not just hiding from you. They are hiding from themselves, but in the process, they cut off the very bonds that could offer healing. Anyone who sees their true nature becomes an enemy, not a friend. And so, the mask must be preserved, whatever the cost. Because for them, exposure is not just a wound to their pride. It is the end of the world they have built to survive. The greatest power enabling this painful pattern is not the cruelty itself. It is the silence that surrounds it. This way of being persists because it is hidden, because it is explained away, because it is ignored. People do not speak up because often they cannot. They are caught in a web of confusion and shame, unable to find the words for something so formless. And this silence becomes the dark, fertile ground in which these wounds thrive. When no one names the pattern, it becomes normal. The wounded soul is left unchecked, free to repeat the cycle with a new person, on a new stage. This silence is not an accident. It is cultivated by the person at the center of the storm. They create a world where speaking the truth feels like a declaration of war. You fear you will not be believed. You fear you will be seen as the one who is unstable. You fear losing everything: the family, the community, the life that has been built around their powerful, charismatic image. They work to keep others quiet, to make them doubt their own inner compass, to question what their own eyes have seen. And in doing so, they do not just gain control, they erase reality. And when your reality is gone, you are easy to control, easy to dismiss, easy to forget. But the harm of this silence flows outward. Children who grow up in such a household learn that their own feelings are a disruption. Partners learn to accept pain, confusing it for devotion. Entire communities will look away because to see the truth would be too difficult, too unsettling. And so the hurt continues, not because no one can see it, but because no one will speak its name. To break that silence is the first act of liberation. It is the first step on the path of healing, to give a name to what has happened. The manipulation, the chaos, the coldness, the cruelty gives form to the invisible. It reclaims the power that was taken. It is a quiet declaration that says, I see the pattern. I will not be silent. I will no longer carry the weight of this secret for you. Wounded souls do not have power because they are strong. They have power because they are allowed to hide in the quiet spaces. And the most dangerous are not the ones who rage and shout. They are the ones who smile, the ones who charm, the ones who weave webs of illusion, masking their inner holiness with outward charisma. They depend on our silence to keep their false self alive. They fear exposure because exposure is their unraveling. If you have seen these currents in another, or more difficult still, in yourself, the time to speak is now. Not from a place of revenge, but from a place of truth. For truth is the light that disrupts the illusion. It brings cracks to the fortress. It calls what was hidden in the shadows into the open air. And in that light, the power of the false self begins to dissolve. Silence allows the wounded to continue wounding. To speak is not just to survive. It is an act of liberation. It is an act of clarity. And ultimately, it is freedom.